So what's the first step in building the model? Always capture your inputs. Your inputs is your face value, which is also called the maturity value of the bond, which is given to be as $1,000. The annual coupon. Now remember, this is denoted by symbol FV in the Excel functions. Then you have annualized coupon. And what is it? 6%. This is PMT, mind you. This is called PMT. Then you have next the yield to maturity, which is the bondholder's expectation. It is 9%. This is rate in Excel. This is exactly what is called as rate. I'm just putting down the Excel functions also so that you know what these stand for. And last is your maturity is how many years from now? 10 years from now. So this is N per in Excel, N per. N per stands for number of years. So first step, when you have all this information, these are all, what are these? I'll highlight these in, remember, inputs we should always highlight in a separate color so that you can see कि अगर मैं inputs को change करूँ, if I play around with my inputs, what will be the change in the output? So I go to, I use these inputs and together then I can build a table with the help of these inputs. And let's start with the years. You have how many years? 10 years. So I click on series columns 10. And then you can get the cash flows also. So always plot your future cash flows separately. So cash flows will be nothing. So from an investor's perspective, when he invests in the bond, what is the cash flow he gets? Coupon. So $1,000 into 6%. That's what he gets every time, right? Every year until maturity. And in the maturity, he can get the face value, which is the maturity value also back. Then you put your discounting factors, which are always based on your yield, remember, because that's the investor's expected rate of return. So that is 1 by 1 plus yield to the power of that particular year. And then drag this down. So you get your discounting factors. Then make present values, which is cash flow into discounting factor. And then all you need to do is sum it up. So when you sum it up, you get your intrinsic value of the bond as 807.47. Is that right? Yes. So ये आपकी intrinsic value हो गई $807.47. Now, once you have got this, this is your, what we just created is nothing but your intrinsic value estimate. है ना? Now, using this estimate, next we can create some sort of a, because the question says that we should use this estimate to do what? To create some sort of a relationship between the input, which is the yield, and the output, which is the price. ये हमारा output है. So input और output के बीच में मुझे एक relation चाहिए, right? So I put this YTM and the intrinsic value here. And remember, if you keep smaller steps, if you keep smaller steps, then it's much easier for you to model the graph. So always start with the input-output relationship. So the input comes from here, which is your yield, and the output comes from here, which is your intrinsic value. Now what I will do is I will start with a very, very low yield just to create a wider graph starting from 0.25% going up to 18%. So I'm taking a 0.25% का step. छोटा steps लोगे ना तो your convexity will be more pronounced also. So I start 0.25, 0.25, 0.25 करके बढ़ाता जाऊंगा till I reach 18%. And then what is my objective? Oh, sorry. यहाँ से करना है मुझे. हाँ. What is my objective? Correct. So I now want to find the intrinsic values at these different YTMs. Now always highlight your base case separately because you should never ever include your base case in your graph. It will distort your graph. अब मुझे क्या करना है? Next, I just need to populate the data table. All my inputs are in a column, so column input पे जाके I'll just link it to my YTM का cell. Because वहीं पे input change. See, the idea is जिस सेल में इनपुट चेंज होगा वो कौन सा सेल है विच विल ब्रिंग अबाउट ऑल द चेंजेस इन ऑल द आउटपुट्स एंड प्रेस ओके. तो ये आपका इंट्रिंसिक वैल्यूज आ गए, सारे इंट्रिंसिक वैल्यूज अगेंस्ट द YTMs. आए कि नहीं? सो नाउ when you are wanting to plot a graph, remember अभी हमने क्या किया है? What have we done? We have just created a simulation between varying yields and prices. Now I want to plot a graph so that I can depict the relationship between yield and prices in a better manner. वही है ना objective? So जब आप ये करोगे, do not take this. इसको पहले बात तो आप कैसे validate करोगे कि ये सही है? How would you know that this is correct? Correct. तो आप पहले 9% पे जाके देखो कि आपको सेम प्राइस आ रहा है या नहीं आ रहा है. आ रहा है ना? Which means this is correct. 807.47. दूसरा, when your YTM is equal to coupon, the bond will trade at par value, which is $1,000. तो आप 6% पे जाके देखो क्या आ रहा है प्राइस? $1,000. तो अगर ये दोनों आ रहा है, which means your matrix is absolutely right. Now, when you want to construct the graph, don't take the first cell. पहला रो नहीं लेना है. क्यों? क्योंकि वो रो नीचे भी रिपीट होता है. So that will distort your graph. So start from the second row. ठीक है? Second row से start करो. Go to insert, recommended charts. Please choose the scatter. Scatter लेना. And to make the convexity more pronounced, you just do something like this. So this is your YTM price. Can you see the graph is quite convex and pronounced also? The reason is what is the reason why this happened? The reason it happened is that we have taken smaller steps, baby steps, 0.25% वाले. तो आपको कन्वेक्सिटी अच्छे से दिखेगी. अगर आप लार्जर स्टेप्स लोगोगे 1% से बढ़ाओगे तो वो आपको ठीक से नहीं पता चलेगा. And second, I've shrunk the graph also. So the more you shrink, the better the convexity stands out. The other thing that you should be doing is also to create some sort of a control panel. So you should have this developer tab on your laptop. तो नॉन मैकबुक यूजर्स के लिए आई थिंक यू शुड गो टू फॉर्म. दो टाइप के कंट्रोल्स होते हैं, एक्टिव एक्स कंट्रोल्स एंड फॉर्म कंट्रोल्स. So go to form controls and choose the spinner. And for the MacBook users, as soon as you click on developer, this is your spinner button. अब ये spinner button को हम यहाँ पे we will put it here. Now please remember one thing which I am telling you, which I have got by my experience, that you will not get this spinner button will not be able to handle percentages that well. आप परसेंटेज पे वो नहीं चलेगा, आप देखना, ट्राई करना. You will not be able to, so you will have to do some local jugaad for it to run. Fantastic. So you will have to divide by 100. So आप क्या करो यहाँ पे ना, don't put this thing 9% मत करो, keep it as 9. ये जो input है ना आपका, you keep that input as 9. Don't put 9% there. Put 9. ठीक है. और ये जो यहां पे है, ये इनपुट, ये वाला, इधर देखो, दिस इनपुट विच इज देयर, विच इज इन योर मॉडल, उसको आप इस डेवलपर के साथ लिंक कर दो. सो व्हाट यू डू इज इक्वल टू डेवलपर इनपुट डिवाइडेड बाय 100. समझे आप? मैंने इस सेल को इसके साथ लिंक कर दिया. अब जब मैं रिमोट कंट्रोल को चलाऊंगा, ये ऊपर नीचे होगा. तो ये ऊपर नीचे होगा तो आपके मॉडल में भी अपने आप ऊपर नीचे हो जाएगा, एंड एवरीथिंग विल चेंज. सो व्हाट यू हैव डन, इससे आपने क्या किया, ये जो डेवलपर टैब है, इट्स लाइक अ रिमोट कंट्रोल. तो यू हैव ऑलरेडी बॉट द टीवी, सेट टॉप बॉक्स, रिमोट कंट्रोल. बट चलने से पहले आपको एक स्टेप करना पड़ता है. क्या करना पड़ता है? पेयरिंग करनी. जब पेयरिंग करोगे यश, उसके बाद ही वो ठीक से चलेगा, है कि नहीं? हाउ विल यू पेयर? सो जस्ट राइट क्लिक ऑन दिस एंड प्रेस ऑन फॉर्मेट कंट्रोल. ठीक है. अब यहां पे यू कैन पुट द वैल्यूज. जैसे फॉर एग्जाम्पल अभी करंट वैल्यू में क्या डालू? 9 है ना उस सेल में, वो वाले सेल में देखो, इस सेल में कौन सा वैल्यू है? 9 है. सो 9. मिनिमम वैल्यू यू कैन कीप इट एज 1. ओके. मैक्सिमम वैल्यू यू कैन कीप इट एज 18. इंक्रीमेंटल चेंज 1 से कम नहीं आएगा, तो उसको 1 ही रहने दो. आर यू गेटिंग व्हाट आई एम सेइंग ऑल ऑफ यू? एंड फाइनली योर सेल लिंकेज, ये बहुत जरूरी है. कौन से सेल को लिंक करना है मुझे? ये वाले सेल को लिंक करना है. क्लियर? एंड प्रेस ओके. अब जैसे ही आप ओके प्रेस करोगे, मेरा फॉर्मेट कंट्रोल में माय सेट टॉप बॉक्स इज नाउ पेयर्ड विद माय रिमोट, or TV is paired with my remote, whatever way you want to see it. So now please look at this very carefully. Look at the spinner and look at that table. साथ में देखो. What happens when अभी क्या प्राइस है? 807.47 है. If I make the yield 10, the price changes to 754. If I make it 11, price changes to 705. If I make it 12, price changes to 660. So it's like a remote control. So you can just keep changing. And जब आप 6 पे ले आओगे, what do you see? $1,000, which is your maturity value. हुआ ना? So this is a classic example of how you can embed macros like the developer spin controls to test some sort of sensitivity. अभी हमने यहाँ पे we have used it in bond pricing. We can use it in equity pricing also. You can use it in business valuations also. You can use it in financial forecasts also. You know, when you prepare control panels, when you are forecasting your 3 statements, income statement, balance sheet, cash flow, you'll also put some ratios there, some trends. उसको भी आप इससे मॉडल कर सकते हैं. You're getting my point? So that's the application from a real life perspective. That was the developer tab.